older comedians, when the wave of internet comedians came out, it was like, oh yeah, I ain't doing all that Facebook and the YouTube. I ain't doing none of that. I'm funny in real life. And it's like, yo, I respect that, bro. You're funny in real life. That's incredible. But I never knocked these guys.
I know a lot of internet celebrities. You're cool with a lot of them. How do you feel about Jahan Jones?
Oh, well, actually, man, I have nothing but love for Jahan Jones. Jahan Jones, you could look at it as a comparative effort in where I came to LA and I'm doing stand up, and I might have been here like a year or two before him. And then when he got out here, he started the stand up thing and he started doing internet content. And we both separately just started to succeed. It wasn't until 2017 I was at a taping for my boy BT Kingsley's his Comedy Central taping for the Kevin Hart Network, and Jahan was there. He was like, "Yo, man, when you gonna come shoot?" And believe it or not, Jahan was the actual person who helped me get into the social media space because I was watching, like other stand-up comedians. Like I've been doing this a long time, man. And one thing is you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And although I'm such a young guy and I started comedy so young that I'm a vet, like although I'm super young, I'm still a damn near 15-year comedian like some of these old dudes, except I don't think like them completely, but I understand their thinking. And I say that to say older comedians, when the wave of internet comedians came out, it was like, oh yeah, I ain't doing all that Facebook and the YouTube. I ain't doing none of that. I'm funny in real life. And it's like, yo, I respect that, bro. You're funny in real life. That's incredible. But I never knocked these guys. So my thing was always, it's not my cup of tea, but I see the value in it. And I said it wasn't my cup of tea because I made the mistake of still thinking like an older comedian. Comedy is subjective. Nobody can say whether you're funny or not because you're not their audience. Everybody has an audience. So the people that enjoy Jahan might not enjoy King Batch. The people who enjoy King Batch might not enjoy Miss JDMV or Top Notch World. Like they have different tastes in comedy. So for me, I was there tonight and I was like, you know what? It was at a point in my career where I'm like, man, what what am I not doing? Like I feel like I was stagnant. And it was a conversation I had with my nephew who was 18 at the time. And he's like, hey uncle, do you know such and such? They're on Instagram. Do you know such and such? They're on YouTube. And I hated this question because I'm like, yo, number one, I hated it because I hate hearing about other people to me. And that's not a hating thing. It became a thing where Michael Jordan didn't want to hear about Larry Bird and Patrick Ewing and Muggsy Bogues every day. He wanted to talk about him. Let's talk about Jordan. Let's talk about his shoes. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about Space Jam. So I fell into being like, man, my nephew isn't impressed by anything I'm doing. I've been doing stand up all this time. I've been doing this TV show, that TV show. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like he's not impressed. He's more impressed by these internet people. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing internet content. So Jahan is somebody he had me in a couple of his videos. I started to understand. I think probably 20 minutes in on the first day, I understood because I had shot sketches before, but I just didn't understand the algorithm. And the algorithm is a nicer way to say I did not understand what to do. And Jahan Jones is somebody that you have to respect him. He's got over 1 million followers. This brother has been doing content for more than 10 years. And he's somebody that posts content every day. 7 days a week, Jahan's posting content. And I was like, okay, okay. So that's what the move is. I began to do content. I started shooting my content with other creators that were around my follower account. My boy Tyrese Spivey, very funny dude. Big Ja. Like I was, all of these are my friends outside of the sketch world and stand up. So I'm like, I want to start shooting stuff with my friends. So we start shooting and it started becoming successful. And within that, that's when I would go back to the other comedians like, hey man, you shouldn't hate on these guys because you hate them for what they don't understand. The stand-up comedians started showing a dislike for internet comedians for the reasons that I could understand. One, just because somebody puts a video up doesn't mean that they're a comedian. Two, the internet comedians would steal the stand-up comedians' jokes. And here's what you don't understand. In the stand-up world, we live by a code of ethics. You do not steal somebody else's material. However, you learn that because comedians tell you the ropes when you're doing comedy. The internet comedians don't have that. Internet comedians don't have somebody to tell them the do's and don'ts. All they have is their phone, they got a camera, they got lights, they shoot the content, and they upload it. They might see something funny, but oh, that's funny. Shoot it and drop it. Even though that's wrong to us, they don't know that that's wrong. So my thing was always, why don't we teach them our craft and they could teach us theirs? Because as a comedian, your goal is to put asses in seats. If you don't put asses in seats, you have no purpose. I don't care how funny you are. Nobody's going to see how funny you are if nobody's in them seats. Now, the internet comedians, they got them seats. They got people to put their asses in them seats, except they didn't have the show. And I respect so many comedians that come from the internet that take the time to learn the skill of stand-up and they work on it and they make something out of it. As comedians, there are a lot of comedians who aren't willing to build their social media that way, and they would rather denounce what they're doing. So for me, I began doing internet content, and I'm the guy that came from TV to the internet instead of the guys that are from the internet that's trying to go to TV, because I understand the importance of owning your content. You have so much power in owning your content because as comedians, we don't own our masters. We do a show like a Def Jam or a Comic View, and we don't own that. The network does. But I tell you what, all these videos own all these videos, and I can take them down in an instant and move them somewhere else if I wanted to. So, in short, internet comedians versus stand-up comedians, I think, needs to die because we both have something to show each other. And my goal wasn't to get into sketches to do anything wrong. It was more so to impress my nephew, and he still don't follow me. But it's an art form of both, because doing sketch comedy on the internet requires a lot of work. For me, I'm producing the whole video. I'm finding the location. I'm casting the talent. I'm writing the idea. I'm shooting the idea. I'm editing the idea. I'm uploading the idea. And then I'm interacting with my fan base, which is a whole nother animal, worth it, but a whole lot of work with everything involved. Whereas opposed when I was just doing stand-up, I wake up at noon. If I'm not on set or out of town or touring or something, I wake up, watch some TV, wait for the day to go by, and then at nighttime go to the comedy club. Whereas now, every day that I have is filled. Whether I'm shooting my content, whether I'm on set, if I'm touring, if I'm writing, if I'm acting, it's a lot. It's worth it because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.